Hello and welcome back to the What the Falk Sunderland review show. The lads continued their good start of the season with a second win on the road, thanks to another Ross Stewart strike late in first half injury time. I've had a couple of Jack Daniels. I've just got back in from Stoke. I'm very, very happy. My voice has gone a little. You might be able to tell that. So without further ado, I will welcome our guests as we go through another excellent win for Sunderland. Brad, first and foremost, I will come to you. How are you doing, mate? You okay?
Yeah, I'm good, Graham. I'm glad you had a good day. I've had a couple of beers myself. Unfortunately, I didn't go, but I've had a couple of beers and I'm just waiting for the boxing. But what a good result that was. But I'm sure we'll dive into it. When I've said previously about performances, it wasn't quite there, but we've won on the other. Like we've won from another perspective today. So I'm all in all, mate. I'm happy as out.
Aye, me as well, mate. First debut performance of the season. It's Dan, social media man for Sunderland Central Scottish Sunderland Supporters Branch. I think I said that wrong, Dan, but like I said, I've had a few Jack Daniels. Dan, you all right, mate? You good?
Yeah, mate, very good. Good to be back, enjoying the start of the season. No Jack Daniels will be here for me today, unfortunately, but getting drunk on the 3 points, that'll do me.
The way I feel like just downing a whole bottle of vodka and just absolutely getting on it, which is a long while since someone's made me feel like that. Last but not least, he's back again. We keep letting him come back. I don't know why. Ross Black. Ross, how are you, mate? You okay?
How you doing, mate? Yeah, very good, very good. As Brad says, we did it a different way today, didn't we? But we got 3 points and that's all that matters at the end of it.
Yeah, it feels very nice, I've got to say. Brad, I came to you first, so I'll come to you with the first question as always. As I said in the intro, an excellent win on paper. Yeah, maybe not the best first half performance, but I couldn't give a hoot at this moment in time, to be completely honest. How are you feeling about the result, the performance, the fact that we're fifth in the table after 5 games, which is a little bit of a nosebleed territory at the minute, but how are you feeling about it?
Who predicted fifth at the start of the season? It was me, wasn't it? Yeah. Yeah, like I said at the intro, wasn't the best performance in particular first half. I didn't think we were quite at it. I didn't think the shape was suiting us. I thought we were playing into their hands quite a lot. Pato had to pull off 1 or 2 very good saves, especially one where he's tipped onto the roof of the net. And I did say in our group chat that a couple of the changes that were needed at half time, and Alex Neil made them. And it's something that we've said since he took over. He's not afraid to change things in game to influence what's happening, and it's certainly done that. And once again, my player that I've always said, who was like one of my favourite players since the day he signed, Corey Evans. I thought he dictated playing like when he came on. I don't know what it is about him. He's turned like prime Perlo. And he's popping up with a few 30-yard efforts on the volley, isn't he? I think he's done that 1 per game. And one of them's bound to go in. And when that happens, mate, you might see me on the pitch at the stage of my life. But yeah, I mean, first half, like I said, wasn't great, but we've got a goal at the perfect time. And that, it doesn't change our team talk necessarily, but it changes theirs. It changes the atmosphere on the ground. They're all moans and groans, and we're on the up, and everyone's buzzing, to be honest. So yeah, it's a great result, and we've done it the other way. Rather than playing well and not winning and dropping points, we haven't played particularly great, and we came away with 3 points, and that's great to see.
I think you talk about the perfect time to score. It's not just the perfect time to score in the game; it's the perfect time to score for an away end, because that concourse was absolutely bouncing with Belinda Carlisle. Like at the half time, it was absolutely class. It was a good away end today, and I think there've been good away ends all season, from what I've been told. Obviously, my first of the season, but it was a bloody good away end. Dan, I'll come to you next for the next one. As sort of Brad touched on it before, we weren't really at the races in the first half, we've got to be honest, but we've won. What was it that impressed you most about the performance, as opposed to, the negative of maybe the fact that we weren't playing too well in the first half?
Yeah, I think it was just that ability to get the goal without playing well, but then this been around in the second half and just playing a bit more solidly and a bit more. I don't know. I think the goal just woke them up, even though they had then the full half time to kind of carry the momentum through. I think it kind of just shook their heads a little bit, because what I didn't really like in the first half, we just seemed to kind of be a bit weak and a bit slow and a bit naive a lot as well, which, it just seems to be off the pace and not what you'd expect from Alex Neil's. Even if we're not producing chances, with normally those 3 things you can normally rely on. But yeah, I think what impressed me, like I said, the goal kind of came out of nowhere. It's a great ball and a decent finish. Maybe keep it them better, but it was then just the way they came back out in the second half and played like they should have done from the first whistle, but kind of step it up a bit, and whether that was, well, it probably was, Corey Evans coming on and stuff like that. So I think it was just what impressed me was the kind of the attitude of him, which as we know from the time that Neil's been in charge, the attitude isn't really being in question at all. So just the ability to get going and the resoluteness. I mean, first clean sheet, isn't it, I think, of the season. So it's about time we got that in. So and the fact that we weren't the best team in the first half by any stretch, but at the same time we weren't really under that much pressure in terms of chances from them. So to keep that clean sheet is a kind of, that's the biggest thing I'm taking away, straight after the 3 points as well, obviously. So just the kind of game of 2 hours type thing was probably the impressive thing for me.
Yeah, and I think it's probably the way the championship is. I think we fully deserved 3 points last week, and then we didn't because the goalkeeper scored a looping header and they scored a 25-yard free kick. But this week, I think we deserve to win, got to be honest, but obviously it's probably the weakest performance we've put in. But I thought the second half performance was really, really good. Ross, there's a player that I'll be honest, I wouldn't say I haven't rated because he's very, very young, and I was aware that he had time to grow into the position that he's in. But I actually really like him, and he's proven me totally wrong. I love it. Dennis Serkin was outstanding today. I don't think I've met anyone who thinks Dennis Serkin wasn't the best player on the park today. He was tremendous. How impressive has he been for you this season, and the fact that it's his first championship season, Ross?
Yeah, I think from even the back end of last season in the playoffs, he was tremendous as well. And he's just seemed to step it up a level since the summer. I think he's actually bulked up a bit. I know obviously he's grown at the age, but I think physically he looks a lot more impressive. And to be fair, I think out of all the young players we've got, you'd argue he's the one who settled the most, along with Patterson. He just looks like he's played championship football for years. And Alex Neil even said in his post-match interview today that he was by far the best player on the pitch, and I don't think anyone would disagree with that. I think defensively he's a lot more aware of his surroundings now. I think the back three helps him because I don't think he's as dynamic as fullbacks are expected to be these days. However, defensively, he's been fantastic, and he can still bring the ball out, and he looks very composed on the ball. But so far this season, you'd say, to be fair, I was a bit worried. I was thinking, we might need another left back or a left-sided centre back. I don't know if he's going to settle, but he's one of the first names on the team sheet now.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd agree with that, and I think up until maybe April last season, I wasn't 100% convinced. I thought he looked like he shirked tackles and that now and again. But today, I can't remember he put the tackle in on, but he thundered into a tackle. And he won the ball. It was just a good hard tackle, but the lad was down for a bit. Was it Delap? Well, fair enough. Serves him right for being Rory Delap's son. Brad, we were talking sort of off air about Serkin as well. I think we'd both spoken last season, maybe not the back end last season because he did improve, but I think like maybe under Johnson and that, and saying we weren't 100% sure on Serkin. Tell you what, he shut us both up with not just his performance today, his performance this season, Brad, because he's turning into a really good left-sided centre half, isn't he? That in that back three.
Yeah. The less said about players I slated last season, the better, to be honest with you, because it make me look like right mugs. The thing with Serkin that's really impressing me as well is he's naturally a left back, or maybe he's a left wing back, or we were meant to be playing him as like adapting him to be a left wing back. He's slotted in that left centre half role, like he's been playing there for like years on years. Not like it's his first season in the Championship or his second season in professional football. For me, it looks like he's been playing there for years. And he's also one player that I think if the worst happens and we do get an injury in the left wing back role later, Jack Clark, he could slot in there as well because he does look good bringing the ball out. And there was a lot of times today you've seen where he was stepping out with the ball and he was maybe just knocking it inside to, I don't know, like a Matete or Corey Evans or even a Ross Stewart. And they were giving it to Jack Clark, who then had about 15 yards of space because he'd occupied their right winger that well. So, yeah, I mean, we weren't sorting him last year. I don't know if that was because it's his first season. He was burnt out. He had a lot of things going on and pretty much made for a lot of the season. He was our only out-and-out left back. So he got to come in the same category as like your Dan Neils and your Callum Doyles that was literally playing every game when he could. And it's just shown how good he is when he's got that man management as well. Because I think Alex Neil, if you watch him, I've seen it in particular at home games. when he's on the side where Alex Neil stood, Alex Neil's always torn him, and Dennis Cirkin's taking it in, and it just shows how good the relationship between them is as well. So yeah, I mean, Cirkin today was absolutely phenomenal. I mean, like I said, Corey Evans came on, changed the game, and he made us look more composed and more settled. But as a full 90 minutes, even the first half when running the cost, Dennis Cirkin was outstanding. And if he plays like that all season, what will he be worth, or how far can he go with this club? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's no qualms from him at all. I think one of the players who, I mean, obviously, I think Corey Evans came on and did really well. And Corey's been great this season. He's been great since pretty much Alex Neil's come in, if we're honest, and you can see what he offers. And I've said this loads of times, it's great when players prove you wrong, because it's normally you only have a strong opinion if you think the player's not quite good enough. And him and Cirkin have both proved me completely wrong. And I thought he was excellent today when he came on, Evans. But what I quite liked was the fact that I know he was on a yellow card, and I know he got took off at half time, Matete, but I thought Matete was all right today. I think it was a case of the referee was absolutely card happy. I know people disagree with me on that, but I thought he was all right. But Dan, I was looking through the squad and I was thinking about Matete, and I was thinking about what did I think about his performance in the first 45? Was he just took off for a yellow? And I'm thinking, can he get better? Is there stuff in there? And there's stuff I like about Matete's game that I think some other people maybe don't see or don't agree. But we've touched on a few players there. We've mentioned Cirkin at an extent. We mentioned Patterson early on with the saves he made. O'Nien was in centre half for the first 45 today. Ross Stewart, Ellis Sims, Jay Matete. There's a bunch of players I've just mentioned today that played in that squad that have only played maximum 5 championship games. How impressed have you been by the players, such as them that I've mentioned, and the other ones that I've probably missed out, and how well they've taken to this league so quickly?
Yeah, very impressed. Yeah, I think you can't look much further than Alex Neil for that. Like I say, there's not many in that team that have got championship experience, and the fact that we've not looked out of depth at all in any of the games that we've played, and we've been up against, some seasoned championship teams. So it's very impressive that the way we've adapted to it, and you put that down to obviously squad, the team bonding, obviously the momentum from the playoffs presumably coming through. This on a high, the team hasn't changed that much, rightly or wrongly, but like I say, at the minute, rightly, because they are all playing, stepping up. And even Danny Bart, to be honest, you talk about the players who haven't got the championship experience, but then the players who have got it have kind of come up a level as well. I've been really impressed with him. You'd like to think that he's kind of helping people get through the games as well. And Corey Evans, as you said, the two who've probably got the most championship experience in the squad, are bringing the younger lads or the less experienced lads through. And every game we've got is, we can see it's a squad game. Like, look at today, no one really played more than 6 or 7 out of 10, but everyone was a 6 or 7 out of 10. It was a good kind of dug in deep team performance. So yeah, you've got to put your hats off to them. Like I say, it is a step up. The quality is a step up, and we are playing teams that you would normally expect in the top half, top 6 of the championship. And like I say, other than small periods of some games, we've not been out of it at all. So all credit to them, and hopefully the core group that we've got now, with a few more people with experience, or even the ones that haven't, if we bring in players who haven't got experience, you kind of confident that the lads who are there now, by the time they get half the season under the belt or less than, then they can pull everyone together in terms of just the kind of teamwork and the matching of the oppositions. We're not going to win every game, but we're competing, and that's the main thing. So yeah, very impressive.
Absolutely. And I think, times, ifs, buts, maybes, right? You kind of change it. We did concede against QPR. We did concede against Coventry, but sans a couple of minutes, we might be top of the league. And I think we use a lot of the time of being established and competing, and that's kind of what we want. Like, I don't think anyone would love the playoffs. That would be amazing, but I don't think anyone's really expecting it, like, in truth, or anything like that. We just want to be like 15th or whatever. Most people feel like that, but it feels like Alex Neil's not content with that, and that feels really good. Brad's already said 5th, so I'm saying we're not expecting players. Brad's been expecting it since summer, and so far he's the one that's right, which makes a change from last season. In reference to one player, Ross, I've got to come on to another goal for Ross Stewart. I don't need to tell anyone that's listening to this why Ross Stewart is the best on earth. I don't need to tell anyone that. He just is brilliant, and that's 3 and 5 for him now. I think we all said, Ross, collectively as a fan base, I don't know anyone who didn't go, I'm not sure if Ross Stewart will step up to the championship. I feel like for once we all agreed on one thing. We thought he would, but he actually looks better than I thought he might do. I thought he'd cope well and score about 15 goals. He's on 3 already. I'm a bit like, could he maybe get 20? The big question for me is how important, Ross, is it that he gets that new contract signed and we give him £100,000 a week?
£100,000 a week may be a bit too much, but you've got to give him a new deal. Last season he was brilliant. He had a few spells where he wasn't getting the goals, but he was still contributing to the team. But this year he looks better. He honestly, he looks better. I don't know if the step ups made him, realise he's got to step up, or I think having Ellis Sims beside him really helps, because he does a lot of dirty work, but he just looks so composed. I think his link-up play is getting even better. Look at that assist for Gooch the other night. And the confidence he had just to get him behind. Great ball in by Clark, but I think you knew when he was in, you're thinking like, oh, this is it. Like when you see the miss at the end, where he put it wide, everyone's expecting the net to bulge whenever he's got them opportunities. And I just think he's getting better. He looks fitter. He looks more, I don't know what it is, like you say, his link-up play, he looks a lot more aware of the players around him and the system we're playing. And I think he's got clarity from Alex Neil that, look, you're my main man, you're going to be me tops, you're our number one striker. And I think, like you say, the contract situation, we've got to get it done, because if not, you look at the money, the likes of Forest and all that, if he keeps scoring the way he is, they'll take a gamble, because how good he's getting, he could go even higher. You know what I mean? They're thinking, well, if he can score at this level, why can't he have a go? And we think we bought him for £300,000. Absolute bargain.
It's mad that we sent him for that cheap. But I think I said on the show last year that I felt like he could be maybe a Kiefer Moore kind of player, where I said I watched Kiefer Moore for Barnsley years ago and beat them 4-2, and he just looked a handful and he just looked above the League One level. And I always felt like Roscoe was like that, and he would make the step up in the similar way. Obviously, Kiefer Moore is in the Premier League at the moment. We don't know if he's going to succeed in the Premier League. Kiefer Moore, you wouldn't bet against him with his career trajectory that he's had, and the fact he's obviously really important for Wales, who now qualify for tournaments and whatnot, and are quite a handy little side. But I honestly think potentially Roscoe is better than someone like that, because he's got more to his game than just being a lump. Don't know if he's a Premier League striker. I don't know yet. It's only 5 games, and I need to see that over the whole season. But and I'm not going to say that because I don't know. But on the first 5 games, he looks like a really, really good Championship striker, not just a good Championship striker. It's really hard to pick his faults. Like when he was going through on goal today, I'm telling you, there's not one person in that away end I thought he was missing it. And I know the keeper maybe could have done better. I know he got his hand to it, but honestly, nobody thought he wouldn't get on target and put it in. And everyone was quite shocked when he rounded the keeper and put it inches wide, because you're just expecting the net to bulge when he gets onto it. And we haven't had a striker like that since Jermaine Defoe first time around, maybe, or Josh Madger maybe in the first season in League One. And obviously, I rate him a lot higher than Josh Madger. He scored more Championship goals than Josh Madger already has, and I think Josh Madger's played considerably more games for Stoke and a couple of games for us as well. I like to pick negatives occasionally, for a bit of balance. It's kind of hard though, to be honest. But a sort of half negative, Brad, was that we give a bit of, I wouldn't say stick, but we said we felt Alex Neil might have got it wrong last week with these substitutions. We've kind of touched on it already. Made the 2 subs today. Brought Bailey Wright on, who I thought was tremendous. Some of his block tackles were unbelievable. And the fact he was on a yellow card 5 minutes after coming on, he was so disciplined and still putting those tackles in, was excellent. And obviously brought on Corey Evans, who we've sort of touched on already. I felt he got it right today. I think it takes some balls to make the decision to bring on 2 subs at half time. I know you can make 5 subs now, but it's still an unusual thing to bring on 2 subs when you've just scored dot on half time. You would even maybe say, another 5 minutes. But I thought you got it absolutely spot on, Brad. And how many times out of the 20-odd games Alex Neil's been in charge of, we said, I think Alex Neil got his subs right. I know we keep saying this, but how much of a difference does Alex Neil make to Sunderland, Brad?
It's made a massive difference, mate. When you talk about negatives, the only thing I could say is I've been a big believer if someone's fit enough to be on the bench, they're fit enough to start. So I was quite surprised for Evans not to start, if I'm honest with you. But yeah, his in-game management again has once again proven to be absolutely spot on. You can't fault it. You touched on Bailey Wright getting the yellow card early in the second half, and Alex Neil said the reason he made his changes because we had quite a few yellows in the first, and he couldn't risk going down to 10 men. So when Bailey got a yellow, you were sort of like, oh, because the lap first half, he did tear 09 a new one, especially with his pace and his strength. And I think that's what it was more of a tactical one to maybe let Bailey Wright come up against him with a bit more experience. When he got his yellow, I was like, oh shit. But then after that, he was absolutely tremendous. So once again, yeah, you need to give full credit to Alex Neil. He's made the changes at the right time. When, like you say, some people might say, oh, give it 10 minutes, we've just scored. But then, like, you look at the playoffs, we're all screaming for a substitution, like the 70th, 75th, 80th minute, and he persevered, and it paid off. And once again, today, it has paid off for the time where he's done his subs. I think he's only got it wrong once this season, that was QPR. Well, once he's got it wrong since he took over, and that was QPR. So yeah, you're taking the negative and trying to put it, like, it automatically turns to a positive how quickly, like, he gets it right. And yeah, it's great, mate. I've got every confidence with Alex Neil at the helm. As long as we back him and get the players in that he needs, he will finish us in the top 6.
I think he's a superb manager. I don't know if we'll finish top 6, but I'm so happy with him. It just feels like there's like a progression and a trajectory, and that's all we've wanted for ages. I think when it comes to Alex Neil's press conferences, I've never ever like almost set myself reminders for managers' press conferences. Not even like Sam Allardyce. I can't even know if we did them back in the day, but I never go like, oh, I wonder what he said in a press conference. Alex Neil, I always do. And I've got to be honest. I don't know whether you watched it, guys, or not, or Dan or Ross or Brad, but I'm so sad that when he was like, "Who's Bradley Wright, mate?" Like, to that journalist, that the press conference cut off, because I would have loved to see more of it, because he's a manager that I said for ages, you just need someone who's a straight talker in Sunderland and tactically quite good. It's actually, we don't actually want that much from a manager. Can you set a team up? Do you think about what you're actually doing? Do you talk a straight game? Oh, brilliant. Throughout my generations of supporting Sunderland, which is coming up to 36 years, unfortunately, that's the managers that have worked for Sunderland. Dan, in terms of the next games that are coming up, we felt that it was a pretty tough start of the season. I mean, Coventry at home, promotion or playoff chasing team. Bristol City, yeah, easier game away from home. Nonetheless, QPR, promotion or playoff chasing team. Sheffield United, one of the favourites to go up. Stoke away is never an easy game. We've come through that with one defeat, and that was with 10 men. We can't go into Norwich at home, Middlesbrough away, Rotherham at home, and Millwall at home fearing any of them, can we? Not with the form that we're on, or the performances that we've shown so far.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, I think that's like we won't be fearing anyone, and that it comes back to, as we've just been talking there, because of Alex Neil and because of the no nonsense, just straight talk on the ears. He'll be saying that to them. He'll be saying to them, look at the games we've played. We've not been out of them. We've only lost one against one of the better teams in the division, but even that, 10 men, only one goal in it. So I think that's exactly what I'm saying, and I think the players will know that, the fans will know that, which makes a big difference, because it's different to last year, where not that we should have been fearing everyone last year, but the fear was getting beat by teams that we shouldn't be getting beat by. Now there should be no fear either way, and especially at the minute, not even Norwich next week. Okay, one of the favourites, but again, they've not looked like world beaters since they've started off the start of the season. So it just comes back into the feeling around the team, and as I said before, about the kind of cohesiveness and that. So everyone's got each other's back. Everyone knows what the job is. Everyone knows what the tactics are. It doesn't really matter who they're playing against, whether it's Coventry, Sheffield United, Norwich, Middlesbrough, whoever it is. I think they just go out and they just play their game the same way and match up to the other team where they need to. Yeah, I'd imagine the lads, the performances will just continue at the same level that they're at. The results might vary here or there, but the performances won't, and that's highly important at this kind of start of the season, while they're kind of still getting through the transition period. But like you said earlier, the transition period's kind of come and gone relatively quickly and easily. So absolutely no reason they should be fearing anyone in this division at all now or at all throughout the season. So yeah, I'm looking forward to the next few games and seeing how the lads can kind of just keep pushing on and seeing what they can do against those teams. Yeah,
I've got no fear against Norwich. I'm not saying we're going to win the game. We could quite easily get turned over, but I feel like we'll be in the game. And I think the thing you touched on Alex Neil, you said you think it all comes down to Alex Neil. It does. It really does. I love the players on the pitch, which is really nice to see. Like, I'm in love with Roscoe. Like, I've just got to be honest with you. I just love him.
Speaking of Roscoe, what I will say is Dave hasn't been on this season. I can't wait for Dave's to come back and let Dave speak for 25 minutes about Roscoe's start of the season, because I bet you we can't shut him up, even if we put him on mute, about how good Ross Stewart's been this season. I just can't wait to hear Dave come back and just speak for a minute, like non-stop about Ross Stewart.
I do miss Dave. He will be back. Dave Lovren's fans, like I said, he will be back. Ross, we've got a few more minutes left. Games coming up. The long story short about the Stoke game is class, not that great in first half, but we scored nonetheless. Everything's amazing. We're going to get promoted and win everything forevermore. At least that's how it feels at the moment. But it looks like, as we were kind of just recording this, I haven't had a massive amount of ability to look at who Jean-Claude Van Damme is, who was signing from Brighton or somewhere like that. But apparently he's quite good. And I think you were saying, Ross, just before we came on, you know a little bit more than I do. I've just called him Jean-Claude Van Damme. That's about as much as I know. John Paul Van Decker. What do you know about him? And is it a good signing from what you're aware of?
Van Heck is the guy.
Not Deck, not like no, I thought it was like Deck.
But he's played over 30 games in the Championship for Blackburn last season. He got their Player of the Season, went to Brighton. All the Brighton fans thought, oh, he's going to be part of our team this season. They've then signed Caldwell, who was at Huddersfield from Chelsea on loan. And it looks like he's a plus to go out on another loan and sign a new deal, so it protects their investment in him. When we get him for a season, he can play. He played in the back three at the centre or the right-hand side, so he's ready-made for us, really. He suits the model. And I think when you look at how good Sirkin's doing, Jack Clark, Stewart, alongside the experienced guys such as Bart, Evans, Pritchard, you've just got to really appreciate how much more organised we are as a recruitment side of the club now. Like Stuart Harvey's name doesn't get mentioned much, but I know Speakman brought him in, but he's really recruited well, I think, to suit the model. I know numbers are a bit low at the minute, but I'm sure Alex Neil will get what he deserves because he's earned the trust from those in charge. And I think if we can keep getting these players, like another one as well I mentioned, we've been a bit impatient, including myself, like one player's in. He's probably one that wasn't available until this week, and they've realised they've got the cover at the back. So I think it sounds like a good deal. I think there'll be more to come. He said for the last 3 weeks he wants 4 or 5 in. I think we might see a couple out as well to even things. But I think, like you said, that one's came out the blue today. Blackburn fans thought he'd go to a team like Sheffield United who are challenging for the league. So it's definitely a good sign. And I think he's a ready-made replacement unfortunately for Luke O'Nien, who by all accounts had a tough game today. But he will have something to do with the squad. But if we are looking to really be solid at the back and make sure that today is not the only clean sheet we keep this season, we do need to strengthen there, and he can cover Danny Bart's position as well at the centre if needed. And he just adds that more solidity and more experience whilst also having that youthful exuberance, because he's meant to go on some great runs out from the back, which I've nothing forward to seeing. And hopefully he's in place for Norwich on Saturday, and a couple more. I think if we get a couple more signings, I think early kick-off on Sky, I think the place will be absolutely jumping.
I think so as well. I love how much research I put into my shows normally, and I've just showed everyone how much research I didn't put into this one by calling him John Paul Van Decker, after doing that hilarious joke by calling him Jean-Claude Van Damme, which was not that funny at all. But he does look decent. He's played 28 games for Heerenveen as well in the Eredivisie. I see there as well, which, you know, I don't know much about the Dutch league, but I'm assuming it's decent. Like, I'm assuming it's like, at the very least, the middle part of it's maybe on par with like the Championship. Obviously, the higher end, your Ajaxes. I watched PSV the other night and they were really good. So it's maybe even a higher level. Obviously, Heerenveen being not one of the top teams, but he's obviously went there and played on a regular basis. I think all in all, a really positive weekend again, and it's felt like every review show we've done, even though we've only won 2 and 5, has been incredibly positive. And that feeling can only continue. I've got to be honest and say it was great. Being at the game today, it was fab. Because a lot of the time it felt like when you won in League One, it was like you breathed a sigh of relief, like, oof, that was not a banana skin, thank God. And then the next one, you were kind of like, please don't be banana skin. And then we get the banana skin and you'd be like, oh. This was like, I can't remember touching it before. It was you, Dan, the pressure's off. The pressure's off here. Like, we're not expected to go up. We're not expected to even challenge to go up. So every game's like almost like not a free hit, because I think we're expected to compete a little bit, but there's no huge pressure on our shoulders. We can just like express ourselves and play the way Alex Neil wants us to play. And it's great. It's an absolute pleasure doing stuff like this at the minute. Back in a league that is, I still don't think it's quite big enough for us, because of course, I'm biased and think we're a Premier League team and everything but name. But it's nice being a league that is competitive and is full of good, solid outfits. And we're going there and we're competing with them and sometimes beating them, which is fab. So onwards to Norwich. But lads, I don't think I've done as positive. I don't think I was this positive after Wembley. I don't know what's going on with me here. But Ross, Dan, Brad, thanks very much for joining me. Obviously, we'll be back for Norwich next week. We're going to try and aim for Saturday night recordings and Sunday morning releases. Hopefully people quite like that. It gives you something to listen to with your morning coffee. But as always, if you don't want to listen to this with your morning coffee and you think this is a horrendous podcast, it's completely fine, as long as you get behind the lads on a Saturday or a Sunday. But thanks very much, lads. Thanks very much.
Cheers, Graham.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers, Graham.
Thanks.